Happy holidays, everyone. I'm Victoria Chemko, Principal of Umami Marketing. Today I'll be talking about responsive website design and what considerations to keep in mind when building out your website for your business responsively for the first time. So keep on watching to find out all the details on this holiday edition of the Digital Marketing Postcard. So what is responsive design anyway? Well, it's an approach that suggests that website design and development responds to a user's behavior and environment based on screen size, platform, and orientation. This ensures content will look good and be easy to use across multiple devices such as desktops, tablets, or smartphones, using flexible grids and layouts. Nowadays, search engines take responsive design into consideration within their algorithms, and if the site is mobile friendly, it has the potential to rank better than other non-mobile friendly sites. As a result, it's become more important than ever to make sure your website is set up responsively. What this means for you is there are additional complexities to consider in terms of various devices and how users will view your site. So here are some key considerations to keep in mind. 1. It's different than desktop-only design. You need to keep in mind that viewers will be looking at your site differently depending on their device. That's the whole point of responsiveness. So while you may consider something that will look really unique and cool on desktop, how will that translate once someone is viewing what you're trying to portray on a tablet or on their even smaller mobile screen while browsing in bed, for example? What used to be designed that only had to take into account one version of the user experience, you must think more broadly and creatively to understand how you want to portray your content to your audience who now have access to your site on a multitude of devices. And another thing to keep in mind is that just because your current site visitors are not generally on mobile, as seen in your analytics, for example, it's not necessarily because they aren't on the increase itself. It may be due to your current site being too difficult to maneuver from the mobile, and thus people leave the site immediately due to frustration, or just won't visit at all from the small device. You may find your stats change once your site becomes easier to use. 2. Ensure your designer and developer understand responsiveness. Some designers and developers are used to thinking about design within a single view only, from traditional print media to the websites of the past. When selecting a vendor to help you build your new website, make sure they really do understand all of the intricacies involved from design to development across the user device spectrum. If they don't, you'll end up with a poor user experience and a site that doesn't work well on various devices, so you may have to then go back to the drawing board or spend a lot of time and money redoing all or parts of it, getting it done the right way. 3. Choose the right images. There are a lot of possibilities to ensure that images are fluid and can work across different screen sizes, but you must keep in mind as you're going how an image may appear when it's in full size on a desktop versus what can possibly show up within a smartphone, for example. Will you be able to see the details that you need to of that image once it shrinks down to a smaller size? When on a tablet versus a desktop, will parts of the image be cut off or not show what you ideally would like? For example, when sourcing out an image for that new blog post, think about what it'll look like at various screen sizes and not just what you're viewing when creating it. Also keep in mind the size of images and how it will affect loading times and performance across all possible devices, as this is another key ranking factor. 4. File format across devices. Another thing to think about is how video or other large files may be rendered on a desktop versus a mobile phone. For example, if you have a page with a looping video, you may want to make it show up as an image itself for mobile devices, so as not to use up all of a person's data if they're not on a Wi-Fi network. This also is a factor for other large file formats that you want to have show up on desktop, but not necessarily on smartphones. How will this change the user experience? What about performance? Will this still convey the message and action you're trying to get across? 5. Consider mobile first. Mobile-first design was common prior to the uprise of responsive design and is recommended here as well. The idea is that when a page is created, think first about how it would be viewed on mobile before determining how that could be enhanced to work on larger devices like the desktop or tablet. It's easier to scale up than scale down. Will you be able to read that headline on the smallest screens? And will the form need constant scrolling before it can be filled out and submitted? How does the navigation work? This can also help the overall user experience, since it'll drive more simple, direct focus on the action that you are hoping for the visitor to take. Mobile users want fast-loading websites to research quickly, take an immediate action, or make a purchase while possibly on the go. So to summarize, when implementing responsive website design, key considerations include 1. It's different than desktop-only design. 2. Ensure your designer and developer understand responsiveness. 3. Choose the right images. 4. File formats across devices. And 5. Consider mobile first. Now that you understand more about website responsiveness, please check out our recent blog post covering more useful website tips. And if you like this video, subscribe to the Umami Marketing YouTube channel and our monthly digital marketing postcard. Happy holidays, be safe, and I'll be back again in the new year to answer more of your questions. Here's to a great 2017. Take care.